Welcome back. This is the Leadership Transition course, and in this module, we will be looking at feedback models. So, what are feedback models? We want to look into this topic because in the previous one, we've talked about leadership styles as well as readiness level and, um, the leadership quadrant. We talked about the directive approach, the coaching, the supportive, and also the delegating. Now, one of the things you need to keep in mind as a leader to be, or someone who is already leading, is um, you have to look for ways to motivate or, you know, encourage your team as well as yourself in doing things and getting the best result. So one of those ways is by using feedback models. And it's simply a tool for coaching. It's also a tool that organizations use for making useful changes. For example, in life, when you do something and you ask your friends or someone, what do you think about this? They tell you something back and you can use it for improving yourself. This is a simple example. But in a working environment, it can be more challenging. So for someone like Sarah in our fictional use case that wants to improve the relationship between the team members and herself and develop them better, this is one good way to do that. But first, you need to know how to do so. So, because the importance of feedback is to improve performance, to raise awareness, to boost energy, and to develop relationship, those things involve coaching, and it involves behavior assessment. It involves encouraging and appreciation and interpersonal feedback. Therefore, you need to know the steps to be able to achieve this. And to do that, first you understand the situation. That's why we talked about situational leadership. Understand the situation, describe it so that you know what you need to address. So when you're giving feedback in order to help a situation or someone, first of all, you and that person need to both come to terms with the situation. Describe the behavior during that situation so that it is understandable what the impact is of that behavior and what could be alternative behavior and the impact of that alternative behavior. Now, these are so important because in the end, you want to be able to reach agreement in order to achieve your intentions of improving performance, creating more self-awareness, boosting or mentoring or energizing your team members or yourself, and also creating a good relationship. So, there are many ways to give feedback. We will look at more of them in coming modules. But then we look then or talk now about one-on-one feedback versus what we call 360 degrees. Now, one-on-one is simply doing a face-to-face discussion and talking, just like I mentioned a little bit earlier, where you ask for a feedback and someone gives to you with all the situation, the impact, and the behavior that is defined. A 360 feedback is something that many organizations also ask for, where you're in a work unit and you're interacting with your boss, with your customer, with your subordinates and other peers. And you want to know what they think about you. It could also be a team member who needs to gather this in order to also get some assessment for himself or herself. So it's a good way of gathering feedback because then people you work with can give you feedback based on, for example, your boss who can give you something on financial or leadership behavior or how you do things. A customer can tell you about how you behaved or did things with the results and also your leadership behavior. Um, your peers or suppliers can also tell you about your behavior when it comes to cooperation, planning, and teamwork. And of course, your subordinates or your team members can also give you a feedback about your leadership behavior. And it's important and crucial as a leader to be open. This is why we talked about different leadership styles and management styles so that you choose what you want and in that way define how you're going to go about it, because someone who is not open to lead is not likely to take feedback from the subordinates and others. But then there are some downside with 360-degree feedback. So first of all, let's talk about the good side. So it provides feedback from a variety of sources. So you get feedback from a variety of sources, and you can use that also towards your team. You can use such also for developing and strengthening your teamwork and accountability, and it can also help in revealing certain career development areas. But the downside could be that it could focus more on employees' weaknesses and shortcomings instead of the strengths. So I've seen situations where this kind of feedback, depending on who is giving it, yeah, you might just be given a feedback that might not be good for someone, but because you don't understand the full person or scope. And that is also due to the fact that if this person is inexperienced, and maybe there's also a problem between two of you, or doesn't tell you that's an issue, and it involves a large data, which sometimes processing it can be cumbersome and misleading. But the idea here is that whether one-on-one or 360 degree, these are vital to helping you lead the people as well as helping you follow your people that you lead. And with this, we come to the end of this particular module.